the word out. Tuesday's a big day here for us in New York, and we'd like to rally as much support around Hillary Clinton as possible. So let's begin with some speakers.
I've known Hillary Clinton for 24 years, since I was elected to Congress at the same time that Bill Clinton was elected president. I met Bill and Hillary about that time. And I worked with Hillary when she was in the Senate for 8 years. I worked with her on things like getting aid for Lower Manhattan after 9/11. I worked with her on preventing xenophobia, on preventing homophobia. I remember very carefully working with her against the against the federal marriage amendment. Remember the federal marriage amendment? It's a big wedge issue in 2004. She was one of the leaders of the opposition in the Senate. I was one of the leaders of the opposition in the House. We worked very closely together to defeat the federal marriage amendment. Had that passed, you wouldn't have had the Windsor decision. You wouldn't have had the Obergefell decision. You wouldn't have the kind of equality we're beginning to have today. And it wasn't so obvious. Things have changed. In 2004, the Republicans put federal marriage amendments on state ballots because they thought it would help draw voters out to vote for Republican candidates, because that's what the polls showed. And it did. Today it would be the other way around, because we've made tremendous progress. But Hillary stuck her neck way out, as did others, but Hillary was one of the leaders in opposing the federal marriage amendment. And she did a lot of other things for supporting inclusive hate crimes legislation, advocating lifting restrictions, blocking LGBT couples from adopting kids. She was always not just an ally, but a leader in the Senate on these kinds of issues. And that's what we want in the White House. Yes. A leader. And we want a leader not just on one issue. There's another candidate in this race who's a friend of mine. I've worked with him for 24 years, and he's very good on some issues, but some issues are afterthoughts to him. Yes, yeah, gay rights fine, women's rights fine, but the only thing he really talks about is something else. Economic equality, which is important, but it's not the only issue. We need someone who will fight for against economic inequality, who will fight all the economic issues that we know have to be fought for, but will also put front and center the women's rights issues, the LGBT issues, who knows that these issues are not an afterthought. They are the precondition for a humane and civilized society in today's world. We need someone who knows that and has shown that she knows that. We also need someone who can win an election in November. I was asked to speak at a Democratic club back in November on behalf of Hillary. And I thought what I was going to say, and I made a very short speech. I'm going to repeat it in its entirety now. This is what I said. I said, I have a long personal history in presidential politics. I supported in order Gene McCarthy, George McGovern, Mo Udall, Ted Kennedy, and Alan Cranston. We got Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Ronald Reagan, and George Bush. We have to be very, very careful. We can't repeat those experiences. We have to have someone with a proven electoral track record, a track record of appeal across the board to women, to LGBT people, to minorities, to everybody who make up a winning plurality in this country. And that's Hillary. So on the merits, if we want to elect a great president who will make real progress on all the issues we care about, it's Hillary. And if we want to select as the Democratic nominee someone who will beat Donald Trump or Cruz or whatever idiot they come up with, it's Hillary. We cannot gamble, because we're gambling with the entire future of this country, the future of equality, the future of everything we've begun to accomplish over the last years. And look how far we've come. We cannot go backwards. We have to continue, and that means we have to nominate and elect Hillary Clinton. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
To go out and fight for the next 2 days to see that Hillary not just wins, but wins big in New York. Are we going to email, phone bank? Are we going to make sure everyone who lives in our buildings, on our blocks, are out there voting for who? Hillary! I can't hear you. Hillary! Say I've spent too much time on Twitter with the trolls. But I just find it incredible that they even question who would be the better president. Haven't they read the Daily News? I have to say that not only did Hillary stand up in '94 and say women's rights are human rights, but in the early 2000s, long before many of the victories that we're so proud of, she stood up at a UN conference and said LGBT rights are human rights. She has had our back. This is our time to have her back. So we have to go out and vote and see that everyone we know votes, because New York is a leader. New York leads this country. We've been leaders for generations. Women's rights started here. LGBT rights started right here. And we're going to make certain that Hillary's victory at the Democratic Convention not only starts but ends here. We're going to give her a big, big victory. And we're going to fight all the way to the convention, because we need a nominee who can win in November. The GOP hasn't said too much about Bernie because they want to run against him. They're scared of her, and they should be, because she's smart, she's tough, and she knows how to get things done, and so do we. Let's go out and do it.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here with my colleagues in government and all those that are here to support Hillary. Look, the case has been made. We all know why we love and support Hillary Clinton. And we need to ensure that Tuesday is a blowout. So we can't allow people to stay home. We can't allow people to think that this is a done deal. We need to poll the vote, and that is what it is all about now. And there are many of us here that are organizers, and we know what it takes to do that. So we need all of you to volunteer on that day, obviously to vote, but we need everybody to really help ensure that our friends, our family members are doing the same thing. So to be at the subway stations, we need a lot of visibility that day. So I'm very excited to be a surrogate for Hillary. I'm very excited to have campaigned very strongly with her, not only here in New York, but in other states as well. And obviously, she is by far the most qualified. So very excited about this candidacy and what it means for all of us in the LGBT community, for all of us as Latinos and African Americans. She is the inclusive candidate by far, and that is really important. So the last thing I'll say, and I want to thank my council colleague Corey for inviting me here today. If anybody has not seen the video of Hillary playing dominoes, right? That was fun. So I had her visit my district on Friday. Very excited that she's really speaking strongly on issues of affordability and inclusiveness and equality for all. So thank you all for what you're doing to make sure she's elected. I am proud to stand with all of you here today. Thank you.
I'm so proud to be here with all of my colleagues. You know, as has been stated, and I'll say it again, the stakes cannot be higher, folks, on Tuesday. It's so wonderful that for so many years we were kind of being corralled and demonstrating outside of the Stonewall Inn, and now we're here supporting a candidate who supports our rights for President of the United States. That is a big deal. The stakes are so high, in my opinion, because of two words: Supreme Court. Supreme Court. We all know it's divided 4 versus 4. Who's going to be the next president of the United States to nominate a Supreme Court justice who we can trust in, A, and B, can be confirmed by the United States Senate? That's Hillary Clinton. Who is the candidate who has not only detailed positions on our issues, go to her website, hillaryclinton.com, but also has the plan to get them through Congress? That's Hillary Clinton. And who's the candidate who's going to work with state and local officials, understands how important it is in New York State that we get gay conversion therapy banned, that we make certain that homeless youth have a place to sleep, and that we get full rights for our transgender brothers and sisters? That's Hillary Clinton. So I'm going to end on a cheer, because I always wanted to be a cheerleader. When I say we, you say need. We. Need. When I say Hillary, you say Clinton. Hillary. Clinton. We. Need. Hillary. Clinton. We. Need. Hillary. Clinton. We. Need. Hillary. Clinton. Hillary. Clinton. Good job. Thank you very much.
Now, it's amazing what 30 years of smears, slanders, and attacks from the right-wing noise and hit machine can do. But Hillary Clinton stands up time and time again, and she is the only candidate that can take on these crazy, radical, lunatic, fringe, right-wing Republicans in the general election. That is Hillary Rodham Clinton. She's done it for 30 years, and she will do it in a general election. And lastly, Hillary isn't new to our issues. She was our senator for 8 years here in New York State. She was Secretary of State, and as my colleagues have said, traveled the world trying to influence other countries to treat LGBT people abroad more fairly and inclusively and not have our brothers and sisters internationally criminalized. So her record is there, and she is the most detailed public policy when it comes to issues that affect our community. All of us would not be standing up here today if we did not believe that Hillary Clinton was not the best, most well-respected, most experienced candidate to be President of the United States. So we have, today's Sunday, we have 48 hours to get out the vote. And it is really, really important because in the city, there's really nothing else on the ballot. And sadly in New York, we have too many election days. And on this election day, it is just for president. So we need to get out the vote for Hillary Rodham Clinton, spread the word, volunteer a few hours on election day, and let's make sure that Hillary Rodham Clinton wins in a landslide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. Alan Cranston? So I'm not an elected official. I'm just a LGBT New Yorker just like you. So I'm not going to pitch the obvious. They all used to campaign. They think you need to be convinced. I know the truth. You do not. You're here because you support Hillary Clinton to be our Democratic nominee. What I have to do, what we have to do, is make sure all of them know. So coming out here in a beautiful, perfect spring afternoon, that's easy. What I want you to do, what I want us to do, is make sure the rest of your neighborhood, your building, your city, our state knows that in spite of what the polls say, everyone has to go and vote on Tuesday. It's not a lot. I want you to go and talk to people. I want you to go and fight that good fight with all your friends on Facebook. Definitely Bernie is going to be the president of Facebook. I'll give him that. But everyone has to vote on Tuesday. Everyone has to know about it. The old lady that lives next door that's 80, you gotta tell her. Invite her over for coffee. Everyone has to vote. Everyone will vote on Tuesday for Hillary Clinton so that she can represent New York and take this right to November against whoever the Republicans come up with. I'm thrilled to be here with you later as someone born in New York. Beth Israel, it's that way. It's all these years to travel from the east side to the west side. So I look forward to seeing all of you. We're going to be phone banking at the center tomorrow. Please come and join us there, and I'll see you in the voting booth on Tuesday.
Thank you, Melissa.
Also, to this day, I've been able to raise over $56,000 for GMHC through AIDS Walk New York by the generosity of our community and our allies. So when we put our mind to something, we make it happen. Now listen, it's very important these next couple days, as everyone's been saying. We can't be complacent. There's too much at stake here, and we need a fighter. When it comes to LGBT rights, Hillary isn't just a supporter. She's not just voting for us. She's fighting for us. And as was mentioned earlier this afternoon, we can't forget her historic speech in Geneva when she was on a world stage and declared that gay rights are human rights. And that was to an audience of people that did not want to hear it at that time. So we can't forget that.
Hey, Miss Biko. Hey, Miss Biko. Say hey, Miss Biko. Hey, Miss Biko. Listen, when I say black lives, you say matter. Black lives? Matter. Black lives? Matter. Do we really believe that? Yeah. Last year was our deadliest year on record for folks like us. And when I say folks like us, I'm talking about black people, transgender people, right? Gender non-conforming and intersex people. All around this nation, our lives are being snatched. So we're not supposed to endorse any political candidates, right? Only the issues. And when I met with Hillary Clinton last year, I said, Hillary, on the low, I'm with you. But what I want to know is, are you with us? Will you take care of the issues that matter to us? We want to decriminalize prostitution. We want to decriminalize HIV, right? We want to ban condoms being used as evidence for prostitution. 50 years ago, nearly 50 years ago, I imagine this is what it looked like when our ancestors turned towards Stonewall and blockaded the police inside. Why? Because they kept targeting our community. We're over-policed and under-resourced. So if you're going out on Tuesday to vote and let your voices be heard, let me hear you make some noise. This is a little chant we like to do where I come from, and I just want you to repeat after me. Say I. I believe. I believe. I believe that. I believe that. I believe that we. I believe that we. I believe that we will. I believe that we will. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
He's been a member of the establishment for a long time, as has she, as has I. We have worked for a long time to make America different, to make sure there is justice in this country, to make sure that there is the social, economic justice so that LGBTQ people can walk down the street without fear, can not just get married on Sunday, but not get fired on Monday, where everyone fights against what just happened in North Carolina. We need to break down barriers across this country, and that's why we need a doer, not just a dreamer. We need both, and that is ballot. My vote's in. I suspect everybody who's on this street right now, you all said you're gonna vote. But this, my friends, this is an election where aspiration must trump anger, because we must have action. And that means we need to look people eyeball to eyeball. We need to look at our friends. We need to get them to the polls. We need them to get out and vote, because if we turn New York for Hillary, there goes the nation. If we turn New York for Hillary, she wins the presidency of the United States. So I end where I started. She's had our backs every moment that she's represented us. We need to have her back now. But that means not just voting ourselves. That means getting people who want a country that is fair and just out to the polls on Tuesday to vote for Hillary. Will you do it? Will you do it? Will you do it?
Thank you, Randy.
President of Stonewall Democrats, I'm very happy to be up here representing the 4 Democratic clubs that endorsed Hillary in New York City that are all LGBT. Lesbian and Gay Democratic Club of Queens, Lambda Independent Democratic Club of Brooklyn, Gay and Lesbian Independent Democrats in Manhattan, and of course my home club, Stonewall Democrats. When we endorsed Hillary in January, we did it because not only is she good on our issues, but we also knew that when she gets into the office, when she goes into that White House in January, she will get things done. It's not just about talking in support, it's about having a record to show you can get things done. And we know when we go to those polls on Tuesday, we are voting for the best, most qualified woman who will be our president in 2017. It's about making sure we get our friends out to the polls. It's about making sure we get our neighbors to the polls. It's about making sure we let people know we're voting so they don't forget to vote. So who knows where they're voting on Tuesday? There are not enough hands up, and everybody needs a plan on Tuesday. They need to know where you're going. So please join me. Who's voting for Hillary on Tuesday? Who's getting their friends to vote for Hillary on Tuesday? Who's getting your neighbors, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers? Thank you so much.
Please help me welcome our final speaker of this afternoon, former New York City Council Speaker, Christine Quinn.
Today, and for making Tuesday's primary a priority for you and your time. You know, there were a lot of really significant moments at the debate this week. A lot of moments where I thought Hillary made it clear why she should be and must be the President of the United States. But there was one moment that, for me, what made it the most clear, crystal clear, was when she said, this is the 9th debate, and not one moderator had asked a question about choice or reproductive health issues. Now, I'm a member of the board of the National Institute for Reproductive Health Action Fund, so that matters to me personally as a choice activist, as I know it does to everyone on this stage, particularly our state's choice leader, Deborah Glick. But it mattered to me for a bigger reason. And let me explain that reason just quickly. You know, as our great MC Andrew said, I have the honor now of running a group, Win. We are the largest provider of shelter and services and supportive permanent housing to homeless women and children in New York City. 4,700 people will sleep with us at Wynn tonight, 2,700 children. So I worry a lot about people who get forgotten. I worry that people will forget those 2,700 children, that they won't matter to them because they're poor and they're homeless, and many of them are of color and LGBT, and they'll get forgotten. I worry that choice issues will get forgotten by our next president. I worry that the issues and what's happened in North Carolina and Mississippi to our trans brothers and sisters will be forgotten by the next president. And I worry not just they'll get forgotten in that they won't get spoken about. Even worse, I worry that they'll get spoken about or rallied about or talked about or speechified by our next president, but nothing will happen. That promises will get made, and there'll be no plan to make that hope in that promise a reality. And when I saw Hillary on that stage that night in Brooklyn, which was in and of itself just awesome that it was in Brooklyn, but when I saw her on that stage and I heard her make that point, it calmed my worry. I knew that I was reminded that when she was president of the United States, the LGBT community wouldn't be forgotten, the transgender community wouldn't be forgotten, women wouldn't be forgotten, girls wouldn't be forgotten, homeless mothers wouldn't be forgotten, LGBT homeless teenagers wouldn't be forgotten, my wonderful 2,700 children at Wynn won't be forgotten. So if when we want that to be a reality, and we do, because that's what New York is about, we have to do everything we can between now and Tuesday to get her elected, to win the primary huge on Tuesday. Huge! I'm saying huge on Tuesday. So we have some specific homework for you. So take your iPad out, your phone. If you're old like me, take out a pen and paper. This is what we need you to do. We need you to go to the LGBT Center. Does everybody know where that is? I think you know where that is. We need you to go there tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and be part of the LGBT phone bank. Who can do that tomorrow night? Can everybody do that? It'll make an enormous difference. We need you tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning to go to your subway or your train station or your bus stop to get literature from the campaign and give that literature, those flyers out. We need your neighbors to see you when they're getting on the subway. We need you to make that personal connection. We need you to send out an email, a tweet, an Instagram, a Facebook, whatever else the kids have come up with. Snapchat, thank you. Snapchat. Gail is our technology leader. Do all of that, and when you think you've done it enough and that you're annoying your friends, do it one more time. Because when it's 7 o'clock on Tuesday and somebody's tired, they need to, and they're maybe not going to go to the poll. They need to know you're going to ask them on Wednesday. And if they say they didn't vote, it'd be really embarrassing. So I just want to thank you all for being here. You know, we have an unbelievable choice. I mean, sometimes in elections you have a choice between somebody who's okay and somebody who's marginally better than okay. Right now we have a choice between someone who, has been said, is a good guy, but doesn't have a record of delivering, with someone who is the most brilliant, accomplished, hardworking, sincere, thoughtful, open-minded candidate we have ever had run for President of the United States. And when she wins, she'll be the woman president of the United States. So go and vote on Tuesday and vote back tomorrow. Thank you all.
you all for being here today. Please get out on Tuesday. Again, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors, and thank you for being here with us today.